You're driving home. It has been a long day. The familiar route stretches before you, a sequence of muscle memory turns and lane changes. Your phone, resting in the passenger seat, lights up with a notification. Just a quick glance. A split second. In that fragment of time, less than the blink of an eye at highway speed, your vehicle covers the length of a basketball court blind. You look up. The sea of brake lights ahead is suddenly, terrifyingly close. You slam your brakes, your heart hammering against your ribs. This time, you avoid catastrophe. But what if you had not? What if, in that glance, a child had chased a ball into the street, or traffic had come to a dead stop? More critically, what if, despite your best evasive effort, a collision occurred? You believe it was just an accident, a tragic moment of inattention. The law, the insurance adjuster, and the jury, however, will see it differently. They will see a choice, a violation of a fundamental duty. They will see hands that were not on the steering wheel. This article is not about fear-mongering. It is a forensic examination of duty, liability, and consequence, narrated from the intersection of law, physics, and human psychology. As a lawyer who has represented both the injured and the accused, I have sat across from devastated families and shell-shocked drivers in the sterile aftermath of collisions. I have reviewed thousands of hours of crash data, black box recordings, and smartphone forensics. A consistent, damning thread emerges in a staggering number of accidents. The voluntary, conscious decision to remove one or both hands from the primary control interface of a multi-ton vehicle traveling at lethal speed. This is not a minor traffic infraction. It is the legal and practical cornerstone of negligence, and understanding its full weight is the most important defensive driving lesson you will ever receive. The foundation, duty of care, and the reasonable person. Every driver, upon operating a vehicle on public roads, enters a legal contract with society. This contract is called the duty of care. You owe a duty to every other driver, passenger, cyclist, pedestrian, and property owner to operate your vehicle with the care and skill of a reasonable and prudent person. This is not a subjective standard of what you thought was safe. It is an objective benchmark constructed by laws, regulations, and common sense. Your hands on the wheel are the most tangible, immediate symbol of fulfilling that duty. They're your direct physical tether to control. State vehicle codes universally imply this duty in rules against careless or inattentive driving. The hands on the wheel principle is the operational manifestation of your legal obligation. When you remove them for non-essential tasks, adjusting the radio, eating, holding a phone, grooming, you are not merely being casual. You are demonstrably lowering your standard of care below the legal minimum. In the eyes of the law, you are beginning to breach your duty. The physics of instability, why two hands matter. Modern vehicles are marvels of engineering, with power steering, stability control, and driver aids. This can breed dangerous complacency. These systems are supplements, not replacements, for fundamental control. Physics is immutable. A sudden tire blowout, a pothole, an animal darting across the road, or an evasive maneuver by another driver. These events demand instantaneous, precise input. With two hands placed properly at 9 and 3 or 10 and 2, you have maximum torque, the ability to turn the wheel quickly and with full force. Balance feedback, feel for loss of traction through both arms. Recovery capability, if one wheel drops off a shoulder, a two-handed countersteer is your only hope of recovering without overcorrecting into a rollover. With one hand, or worse, none, for example, knees or a provisional finger, your reaction time is delayed, your turning force is halved, and your fine control evaporates. In a crisis, milliseconds and millimeters matter. A one-handed driver might swerve. A two-handed driver can steer. The difference is the gap between a near miss and a head-on collision. The vehicle's event data recorder, EDR, the black box, will know. It will log steering input angle and rate. In litigation, this data is gold. A slow, slight steering input in the 1.5 seconds before impact tells a jury a story of inattention and poor control, utterly damning when the plaintiff's expert explains what a proper, two-handed evasive maneuver could have achieved. The electronic witness. How your car and phone betray you. The myth of my word against theirs is dead. The modern crash scene is a digital crime scene. Event data recorders, EDRs mandated in all new cars since 2014. They capture data in the seconds before a crash. Speed, brake application, throttle position, seatbelt status, and steering input. A steering input of near zero in the critical pre-crash period is devastating evidence of a duty breached. Smartphone forensics. Your phone logs every interaction. Whether it is a tap to dismiss a notification or a sustained screen-on period, forensic experts can retrieve it. Even if you were not texting, the mere act of handling the phone proves your hands were occupied elsewhere. Bluetooth connectivity logs can show audio streaming or call activity, further painting a picture of divided attention. Infotainment systems. These too often log interactions. Adjusting the GPS, scrolling a playlist, or using touchscreen climate controls all create digital fingerprints that prove your focus and hands were diverted. Insurance adjusters and plaintiffs' attorneys have standardized protocols for subpoenaing this data. They are not looking to see if you were a good driver. They are building a timeline to prove negligence per se, negligence in itself, by showing a violation of distracted driving laws, which is often automatic proof of breach of duty. The legal avalanche, from traffic ticket to civil judgment. The initial traffic citation for inattentive driving or illegal handheld device use is just the first, smallest domino. Let's trace the cascade. Criminal liability. If the incident results in serious injury or death, you could face charges like vehicular manslaughter or assault with a deadly weapon. Prosecutors will use your hand position and distraction as evidence of reckless disregard, elevating the charge from a misdemeanor to a felony. Civil liability. The lawsuit. This is where the true financial and emotional cost is levied. Your breach of duty, hands off the wheel, is the first element of negligence the plaintiff must prove. By establishing that, they then link it directly to the cause of the crash and the resulting damages. The doctrine of residential ipsa loquitur. This Latin phrase means the thing speaks for itself. In certain crashes, for example, rear-ending a stopped vehicle, drifting over center line, the mere fact the crash occurred is evidence of negligence. Your hands-off-the-wheel behavior shuts down any possible defense that it was unavoidable. You have handed the plaintiff their case on a silver platter. Comparative negligence. Even if the other driver was partly at fault, your proven distraction will drastically reduce or eliminate any compensation you could claim for your own injuries. In a modified comparative negligence state, if you're found 51% or more at fault, you recover nothing. Punitive damages. In egregious cases where your behavior shows a conscious disregard for safety, constant, documented phone use while driving, juries can award punitive damages. These are not for compensation, but for punishment, and they can be multiples of the actual damages. Insurance often does not cover punitive damages, meaning you pay them out of your home, savings, and future earnings. Insurance consequences. After a payout, your insurer will likely drop you. You will be forced into high-risk pools with premiums that can reach $5,000 to $10,000 annually for years. This is a financial shadow that can last a decade. The myth of multitasking and cognitive distraction. Here is the non-negotiable neurological truth. The human brain cannot truly multitask. It toggles attention. When you take your hand off the wheel to pick up a coffee cup, your brain's visual and cognitive resources are diverted from the road to the cup, its location, its heat, its stability. This is cognitive capture. For those seconds, you are experiencing inattentional blindness. Your eyes may be on the road, but your brain is not processing the stopped car, the amber light, or the pedestrian stepping off the curb. Studies using eye tracking and brain monitoring show that phone use, even hands-free, creates a cognitive tunnel, degrading situational awareness more severely than alcohol intoxication. Your hands on the wheel are a physical discipline that helps anchor cognitive focus. When you let go for a non-essential task, you are not just risking physical control, you are voluntarily inducing a temporary mental impairment. So, let me ask you this. a question that has kept many of my clients awake long after the gavel has fallen. When that unexpected crisis unfolds in the fractured second before impact, a moment where instinct and training are all you have, will you truly be able to live with the knowledge that your hands, and therefore your attention, were somewhere they never should have been? The practical protocol, from lawyer's advice to driver's habit. Knowing the law and physics is useless without implementation. Here is your non-negotiable protocol. The pre-drive ritual. Before shifting into gear, adjust everything: seat, mirrors, climate, audio, GPS. Your phone goes in a mount, or better yet, in the glove compartment or back seat, with Do Not Disturb while driving enabled. The 9 and 3 grip adopted. This position offers optimal control and reduces fatigue. It is a constant physical reminder of your duty. The if it is essential, stop rule. If you must handle something, a crying child's bottle, a truly urgent navigational change, signal, and safely stop the vehicle. Not slow down. Stop. There is no safe way to drive one-handed. Voice command discipline. Use them sparingly. Complex voice-to-text interactions are profoundly distracting. Keep commands simple. Navigate home, call spouse mobile. Do not engage in composition or reading. Passenger as co-pilot. If you have a passenger, delegate all non-driving tasks to them unequivocally. Conclusion. The ultimate act of defensive driving. Keeping your hands on the steering wheel is not merely a suggestion from a bygone driver's education class. It is the active, continuous fulfillment of your legal and moral duty of care. It is your best mechanical advantage against the chaos of the road. It is the single most powerful piece of evidence in your favor should the unthinkable occur. It is, quite literally, the grasp that maintains your control over your legal and financial destiny. In every deposition, every mediation, every trial where I have dissected a crash, the question silently hangs in the air. Where were your hands? Do not let your answer be one you have to give in a sworn statement to an opposing attorney under the cold, unforgiving light of the truth. Let your answer be the silent, constant, responsible practice that keeps you and everyone sharing the road with you safe. If this detailed breakdown of risk, law, and consequence has reframed something as simple as hand position for you, imagine what our deep dives into other critical legal and safety topics could do. Your awareness is your first line of defense. Do not miss it. Subscribe to the channel now.